Welcome to Java Programming video lectures. In this video, we talk about introduction, need of object-oriented programming, and principles of object-oriented programming. Let's look at the softwares which were developed in structured programming languages. Those days, these softwares often fail. The failure of the softwares we call it as software crisis. The software crisis come because there is an issue with the budget. When a company come up with a budget for getting their software, so they did not get the software what they are expecting within their budgets. That's one major issue. Another issue is the client requirements are not actually meet at the end of the day. Client thought that this kind of requirement will be addressed in this way, but finally they get a different product or a different kind of or different way of doing the same. So these are all the challenges, and finally we have a challenge called bug. The software very oftenly fail in terms of technical. That happens just because of the bug is an unwanted execution or unwanted way of behavior. So let's look at what exactly procedural language. Procedural languages are C, Fortran, Pascal. These are all the examples of procedural languages. If you see the procedural language, it's a collection of instructions, or I can say it's a list of instructions. The complexity of the application is increased when the number of lines are increasing, right? And of course we can divide that entire the entire program into different modules or the functions. When you divide them into different functions or modules, there are one more issue. Okay, the issue is like this: the global data what we have may be used by different modules or different functions. When one function is accessing, the another function may change the data or change its structure of the data. So either or could happen, that leads to the failure. And if you see this procedural language, there is no reality, or I can say there is no real world mapping. And the software which is already there, that cannot be extendable. You cannot enhance the behavior of those instructions by adding few more. It won't be possible. And coming to the object oriented programming, object oriented programming is actually a new approach. We deal that's this way, the way of doing things with the objects, with the help of objects. It actually models the real world. Everything is an object in the application. Okay, and of course every object has its own identity, like it has its own behavior as well as properties. So if you see the software which is developed in object oriented programming, everything is an object which resembles the real world object. Okay, any real world object has its own unique identities, right? It has its own attributes, it has its own behaviors. In the same way, we do have the software objects to handle the activities which we need to do, and these objects exhibit behaviors in the time of programming. Coming to the concept principles, we need to talk about classes, objects, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Let's look at what is class. Class is like a blueprint, it's like a plan or a template. So collection of objects, we can say it's a class. Let's for example, if I say students, right? Students is the class, whereas the individuals are the objects in this room. Individual objects in the room or individual persons in the room are objects. Let's say another example, furniture. When I say, that doesn't have the real existence, it's a class. Okay, the table, chair, they have the existence. And in another way we can say class is a new data type. If I say a number can be handled by data types like integers. Okay, but how do you handle a complex data type? Like, I want to handle the details of a particular employee. Here we have huge information, no? That complex data type can be managed with the help of a data type called class. And of course, this class is logical in nature. This is all about what is class. And coming to object is actually an instance of class. Okay, every object has its own identity, has its own states and behaviors. Okay, objects in the real world, okay, how do they behave? In the same way, objects in the softwares, they do behave. The state is defined by the attributes of the object. Different objects have different attributes and behaviors. For example, as I said, students are name, roll number, etc. are all the attributes. Student is the class here, and every student have their own name, have their own roll number, have their own number. This is one best example where we can say something about class and object. And coming to the inherent abstraction, abstraction is one of the best feature of object oriented programming. In programming, complexity can be managed by hiding implementation details. I'll give you best example for this. When you drive a car, we drive car once you know how to drive. Without knowing how this car works, we are still driving. Okay? Without knowing the implementation details of car, still we are driving once we know driving. Okay, this is the best example for abstraction. Even in the software now, if you want to do some action or if you want to do some business process, you may take the help of somebody called like object without knowing how this business process is exactly implemented inside it. This is what we call abstraction. Now let's look at inheritance. Inheritance is something like, a class is getting the properties of its parent class. Adopting the characteristics of one class into another class is called inheritance. Here we have two classes when I say inheritance. One we call it as base class or parent class. Another one we call it as subclass or child class. The relation between base and child class exists a parent-child relation. A subclass inherits all the properties of base class. In addition to that, it can add its own behaviors, it can add its own features. For example, if I say vehicle, we have something called car, bus, scooter, ship, plane. So this is the category, right? Let's look at this picture. So when I say vehicle, so we have this kind of classification: road vehicle, air vehicle, water vehicle, bus, motorbike or road vehicles, aeroplane, air vehicle, boat, water vehicle. Everything is a vehicle here, but they have their own implementations, they have their own features, they have their own categories. Okay, let's look at encapsulation. Encapsulation means that wrapping up of data and behavior together, and it restricts anyone to directly alter our data. It is best, it do data hiding. So if you see this picture, you would understand all the behaviors are wrapped around the data. Okay, when I say encapsulation, you can remember that capsule. In a medical science, if you see the capsule, within that plastic cap, we have some ingredients. They have their own unique behaviors, and of course they have some attributes like color, size, all those stuff. And behaviors are like addressing some issues or diseases in a body. That is one best example for encapsulation. Finally, polymorphism. Polymorphism means many forms. Same method, but it exhibit different behaviors based on different time, you know, different types, different values which we pass at the time of calling that particular function or the method. Usually we have something called compile time and runtime polymorphisms. Okay, and in an addition operation is actually an exception for the usage of overriding operator. Okay, in Java language, we don't have operator overriding except for plus symbol. Plus is an exception for that. These are all about principles of Java.